All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, Big Dog Brett. Thanks so much for tuning in. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and share. Really appreciate you guys jumping in here and helping me out. Let me go ahead and get rid of that. Let me go ahead and get rid of this. Hide that. There we go. So, wanted to show off the Big Dog Brett shirt. You guys want one of these? You can go check it out at the merch store. Big Dog Brett. Big Dog Brett's Doghouse on Teespring. Find one. It'll be in the link of a lot of the other videos and stuff I do. So if you guys want to go check that out, go check it out. Plenty of stuff over there. So, all right, let's go and see what we got in the channel here. What's up, Colby? How you doing, sir? RJ all day. Yes, sir. Jaden. What's up, TikTok? Chastity Hall says, here, piggy, piggy, piggy. Let's see who else is in here. Michael Porter. How you doing, sir? Stephen Carr. What's up, buddy? Yes, sir. So, a lot going on as usual. A lot going on today. We're going to be talking about the college football rankings, week 5. We're also going to be talking about the game predictions. So when we get to the end of the show, or as we get to the end of the show, I've got another surprise for you guys. Stick around. You don't want to miss that. Colby says, can you meet me and my pops at the game? I might be able to, sir. We're going to get into some of that too. Michael Porter, our resident, first guy in the chat who is a resident member. Colby says, Georgia covers easily in all caps. I can't say I disagree with that sentiment, sir. But a lot to talk about before we get to that. So we're gonna hold off on getting into the content of the show. We're going to give people a few more minutes to jump on. I want to make sure everybody's here as we go. So, yeah. If they don't have their starting quarterback, we win by 35. That's a bold statement. Not saying it's wrong, but it's bold. So, well, let's see. Let's check something here real quick. We're going to give, like I said, we're going to give everybody a few more minutes to jump on. If I got this address right. Oh, I did get it right. Hot dog. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to post this down in the chat for you. If you guys want to go check this place out. This is where you can get your merchandise, Big Dog Brett. If you want a hoodie, we got different designs. All this stuff was designed by Web Payne. He gave me the logos, and I put it on the gear. It's over there. So if you want to get a coffee cup, T-shirts, there's some hoodies and stuff. It's going to be colder. I'm going to be adding more stuff to the merch store, some more designs and stuff, not just stuff that doesn't just have my name on it because, I mean, whatever. But we're also going to talk about last week, so don't forget about don't let me forget about that guy. Don't let me forget about that, guys. We're going to talk about last week. We're going to talk about the games. We're going to talk about this week. We're going to talk about some other stuff that's coming on. But yeah, so. All right, so let's see here. What's up? Nate the Great wants Michigan to beat OSU. A lot of people are looking for Michigan to beat OSU. I'm thinking Michigan can do that. I'm thinking Michigan can do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the invite button here. If you are somebody who wants to have a conversation about the rankings for this coming season, I'm going to go ahead and post the link in StreamYard. You guys can join the show. You can be part of the show. We can talk about the top 25 rankings, where you think they should be. We talked a little bit about it last week. Last week, I had a lot going on. For some reason, I always seem to have a lot going on. It's like it never ends. So, yeah. Let's see. Wait a minute. Big Dog Brett's Doghouse. There we go. That's the correct. If that link's not close, you guys can search and find it, I'm sure. Nate the Great wants to join the show. Here we go, Nate. What's up, buddy?
Not much, man. I want to talk about the rankings, upcoming rank, well, whatever it is, rankings in general. I think it's decent. I think Michigan is a little too high, but I'll take it. But I think they're a little too high for Michigan. But overall, Wake Forest is a surprising team. If you're ranked, but they're looking good though. I thought Boston College could be 24th or something like that, but ESPN just went
So
with yeah.
Yeah, before we get too far into it, I'm going to jump through. I'm going to go through the rankings here. So we're going to start with the AP poll. They've got Alabama at number 1. You got Georgia at number 2. Oregon at number 3. Penn State 4. Iowa 5. Oklahoma 6. Cincinnati at 7. Arkansas at 8. Notre Dame at 9. And Florida at 10. Then they got Ohio State 11, Ole Miss 12, BYU 13, Michigan 14, Texas A&M 15, and then Coastal Carolina ranked number 16, probably the highest they've been in a long time, if not ever. Michigan State at number 17, that's the highest they've been in a long time. Fresno State has snuck in here at number 18. Oklahoma State is right up in here in the top 20. Then you got UCLA, Baylor, Auburn, NC State, Wake Forest, and Clemson. I'm tempted to say I think NC State might be a little better than they're getting credit for here, but they can balance that out. But one thing I do want to point out, and this is not to pick on you Clemson fans, but this is the first time I believe in my lifetime I have seen Wake Forest ranked above Clemson.
Yeah, me too.
Yep.
Clemson is 2-2 with a loss to NC State and a loss to Georgia.
Ouch.
Yeah. So they actually.
Oh, go ahead, Brett. Sorry.
No, they dropped, and it's one of the biggest drops I've ever seen. They dropped 16 spots.
Damn.
To number 25 and just barely hanging into 25. And I got to be honest with you guys. The only reason I believe that they're actually ranked in the top 25 is because they are last year's, I won't say champions, but they made the playoffs last year. So there's a lot to be said for Kentucky could be ranked higher. Texas could be ranked higher. Golly, you could almost say LSU could be ranked higher. SMU could certainly be ranked higher. But they're the only team in the top 25 that's 2-2. So not great. What's up, Gray Man? What's up, Sean Stapleton? What's up, James Willoughby? How you doing, sir? What's up, BLST?
Hey, Brett.
Boston College could be ranked if they want.
Go ahead,
Yeah. What was that, Colby?
I just wanted to say I'm really, I don't want to say proud, but I think Michigan State being ranked is kind of like significant for them. And also Arkansas. Who would have saw Arkansas at the beginning of this 4 weeks being ranked at 8? That is crazy to me.
This guy.
But I'm happy. I don't know why. I'm not happy, but I'm proud, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but I guess surprise is the best way to.
Yeah, what's going on, Texas Rocks? So there's certainly, I expected Arkansas to be a top 10 team. I really did, and that's because of Sam Pittman. I know what an amazing job he did at University of Georgia. So watching him become a head coach, I knew that they were going to be tough in the trenches. I knew they were going to be a very physical football team in a short period of time, and that's exactly what he's done. He is going to start taking players away from Texas and Texas A&M and any other Texas school because he's shown that in a short period of time he can be dynamic.
Well, he already owns the state of Texas. He's beat Texas and Texas A&M, so there you go.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, yeah. Gray Man says Arkansas should be the number 1 team right now.
I mean,
okay. Well, let me break it down to you then, because I knew this was going to come up. So let's go ahead and talk about Arkansas, because everybody wants to talk about Arkansas. So let's do it. So they beat Rice 38-17, which is great. Texas, which was ranked 15 at the time, which we now know Texas was not a top 15 ranked team, they beat them 40-21. That's fine. Georgia Southern, they beat the fire out of them 45-10, like you should. And then they beat Texas A&M 20-10. So they've only had one opponent score more than 3 touchdowns, and that was Texas. And Texas has looked really good since that game. Not doubting it one bit. But let me point out something to you. This game was still very close up until 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter. It was a one-score game. Texas A&M made some mistakes that allowed this to I'll say get away from them.
Yeah.
But it was mistakes that cost Texas A&M the game, and not Arkansas dominating Texas A&M. Now, if you go back and you actually look at the box score and you look at the yardage, Arkansas, for the amount of yardage they had, they should have had more points than 20. They had over 400 yards of offense. Texas
And
A&M
most of it was on the ground too.
Well, they had 246 in the air and 197. 246 passing and 197 on the ground.
Okay.
The key factor in this game was KJ Jefferson. I mean, that was a key factor, and it looked like he come up lame pretty much at the end of that game. So it's really interesting. It's really interesting as to what's going to happen if he can play or not, because he is their ace in the hole, so to speak. Now, I'm not going to talk about a whole lot about Georgia's matchup against Arkansas because I'm going to make a whole nother video on that. But I am going to talk about their matchup with Texas A&M. Now, their matchup with Texas A&M, Zach Calzada, not a great quarterback. Not terrible, but not great.
He's gotten better, like, over. I know he got thrown into the fire, but he's gotten a little bit better. But
his QBR rating is 29.9. It's not great. I will tell you though that Isaiah Spiller, if this guy was on any other team, this team would be ranked top 5, guaranteed. This guy's a beast. He averages like 8 yards a carry. They didn't give this guy the ball near enough. He only had 12 carries in this whole game. He should have had like 40. The guy's that good. So this was poor planning on Texas A&M's part. They had the talent to do so and didn't do anything with it. The big thing that hurt Texas was Texas would absolutely smother and stuff Arkansas until third down, or they would drop them way back on second down, and then Arkansas would get an explosive play, and that would keep them in the game. It seemed to be that Texas A&M just couldn't finish on defense and get off the field. That seemed to really be the problem for me.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying like a 2nd and 9 or like a 3rd and 7, something like that?
Yeah, it was just, if you go back and you watch the highlights in that game, you can see that it was almost never on first downs where you saw these big explosive plays. It was later. It was later in the downs whenever you would see the Texas A&M defense would kind of rally, and then they would pick up a first down. Whether they wouldn't, it almost seemed like on third down that they would drop everybody back to try to get Spiller to beat him with their arm. Not Spiller, but Jefferson to beat him with his arm. And he's like, "Screw that! You guys are going to leave the field open. I'm just going to run for a first down." And he did that numerous times. So, I mean, if you look at the stats, they sacked them twice. They had 8 tackles for loss. This is Texas A&M. They had 2 sacks and 8 tackles for loss. My goodness, they hurried the quarterback 3 times. So basically, you got 13 opportunities here where they went negative yards or no gain. Period. Negative yards or no gain. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Arkansas was getting in the backfield against Texas and moving the quarterback around. There is no reason why Arkansas should not. There's no reason why Texas A&M should not have been able to get off the field on third down. They just couldn't seem to do it. They punted 8 times in this game. It was just, I don't know. After the half, Texas A&M was really sluggish in the first half. They got 1 touchdown in the third quarter, and in the fourth quarter they didn't do anything. They had an opportunity to, but the fumble killed them. So they could have won this game. So keep in mind, this is just what I'm saying. This was a 1-score game with 8 minutes to go. So for most of the game, it was really close. They were 1 explosive away from tying this game up. They were 1 more average drive away from winning this game. So these two teams comparably, if you really look at the stats and look at the numbers of them, these teams are really close. Now we know Texas A&M is not that great at this point, But we can't sit here and talk about how great Arkansas is whenever they got played as closely as they did against Texas A&M. Now, there's nobody, at least I wouldn't think there's anybody in this stream over here that would think that Texas A&M would be within 7 points of Georgia in the fourth quarter. There's nobody here that would think that. So
I agree.
So I can't say that Arkansas is that great of a team and be played as close as they were, and then say Georgia can beat the fire out of Texas A&M, but they're going to struggle with Arkansas. That don't make any sense to me. So,
yeah.
Do you think
Georgia
it's
just
gonna
has
be
a different. Go ahead, Nate.
well, I was going to ask do y'all think it's going to be a close game and in first quarter, or is it going to be a blowout in the second?
Like I said, I'm not going to talk a whole lot about the Georgia game because I'm going to make another video on that.
I was going to ask you, Big Dog Brett. I imagine you're going to be watching the Ole Miss Alabama game. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, I'm not gonna. I'm probably going to be watching that game, but not the way you would think. I'm going to be watching that game, but most likely I'm going to be watching that game on my phone because if everything pans out right, I'm going to be driving back from the game.
I mean, that's what I do.
So it'll be I'll have it next to me. I won't be actively watching it. I'll be listening to it, so to speak. But
I hear you.
But I'm gonna try and make another video about the top 10, and I may do that tonight after the show. But the Alabama, Georgia, that would be an okay. I'm okay with those being interchanged. I can see arguments on both sides of the coin. Oregon at number 3. This is interesting to me. I think this is really giving Oregon a lot of credit for that OSU win, when now we see that OSU is really not that good. They beat Arizona. They beat STBK. What is that? I don't know. Whatever that is.
It's called ESCA.
Yeah, okay. Something middle school rural Iowa. I'm not sure. Fresno's okay, and they beat them by 1 score. So if Fresno is ranked, and what is Fresno ranked, like 16 or 17, something like that?
23. No,
23. So you beat a 23 ranked team by 1 touchdown. That makes you the number 3 in the country. I'm not buying that. OSU, in my opinion, is not that great. So I'm really not. OSU's number 11 and probably going to fall after they lose a couple more games. So I'm not really buying into that. STBK is a nobody, and Arizona's a nobody. So, at least to me. So number 3, I'm not buying it. I would say Penn State should be ranked higher than Oregon. Penn State barely beat. Penn State was gifted a win by Auburn, who's ranked number 22. So, I mean, can you really say that they're number 4?
Not really.
Not really, no.
They beat Wisconsin, who at the time was ranked number 12, which I think Wisconsin's not even ranked at this point.
Yeah, and plus it was at Wisconsin too.
Yeah, so they won by 6 points. They were gifted a win by Auburn. They beat Ville 38-17. A nobody team. Gifted a win. They should have lost that game. They beat Ball State, who's not that good, and then they barely beat Wisconsin, who's unranked. I can't really give you a number 4 ranking. Iowa, Iowa's at number 5 spot. So all these rankings are so messed up this year, and it's so early in the season. They played and beat IU 34-6, who was Indiana, who was ranked at the time, who's again unranked now. Iowa State was ranked number 9. I think they're unranked now.
Yep.
Kent State and then Colorado State, they only beat them by 10 points. They should have beat them by 100 if they were going to be ranked number 5 in the ranking. So we'll know more after they play Penn State 2 weeks from now. So or about a week and a half from now, we'll know more about that. Oklahoma, I'm not sure Oklahoma should even be in the top 5.
I'm not.
I'm not even sure they should
be in
the top 10. And see, this is the kind of stuff that makes people unsubscribe for the channel because I'm so brutal about it. They go out and they barely get a win against a displaced Tulane, and Tulane could have won that game. Then they say, you know what, we got to make ourselves look better. And they go out and they hang 76-0 on something called WCU, right? Outstanding performance. And then they go back the next week and it is a complete flop. 23-16 against probably one of the worst Nebraska teams I've seen. How did you barely win that game? How can you go from scoring almost 80 points against another game to barely scoring 23 against Nebraska? Unacceptable. And was losing that game at one point. Terrible. Then you go out and you edge out West Virginia. Oh my goodness, what are you doing? And you play K-State this weekend. At this rate, with the rate your score's going, you'll probably show up at fourth quarter, into the fourth quarter with negative points somehow. So I can't say Oklahoma's dominant. So who does that leave? You got Cincinnati, who's played a bunch of nobodies. They've won all their games. They play Notre Dame this weekend, who's ranked number 9. I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, I'm going to pick Cincinnati to beat Notre Dame. I'm going to go ahead and pick
Yep. I honestly think even if I know Cincinnati plays Notre Dame this weekend, I think they will win just like you. I think Cincinnati might beat Oklahoma, like if they were to play this weekend. But that's just me.
I can see that too. This week has been so crazy. And again, guys, this is not. Hey, what's up, Gator Hater? What's up, Big and Megan? I got to catch up on the chat. Sorry, guys. Texas Rocks, what's going on, my man? Great man. I see you in here. Who else is in here? Eli Dames says, good luck to y'all this weekend. Kind of wild that my Hogs are going to be on the best team you played so far. Losing won't surprise me, but if we pull it off, I'd die. I hear you, brother. Anything's possible. Let's see who else is in here. Yeah, I saw somebody, Bo Dilly. I love that name, dude. That's such a great name, Bo Dilly. The first time I saw him, I called him Bo Diddley. What's up, Brad Pitt? So what I'm looking at is a bunch of teams right now. There's a lot of fleshing out that's going to happen over the next couple of weeks. Now, then you've got Notre Dame at 4-0. I can see Notre Dame at the 9 spot, but again, they've played a bunch of nobodies. They barely beat FSU in week 1, and now we find out how bad FSU is. They beat Toledo by 3 points. They beat FSU by 3 points. They beat Toledo by 3 points, and they kind of got their stuff together, and they beat Purdue by 2 touchdowns. Then they looked really good against Wisconsin. Now, it was tight for about a quarter, and then after that, they started kind of walking away with it. But Wisconsin, I think, has got 2 losses. I think they're playing Michigan this weekend. Their season's over. They know they're not getting in they're not getting in the college football playoff. That's not really their goal, or at least it doesn't appear to be. They're probably that's a good win, but how good is Wisconsin? We don't know, right?
I don't know either.
Again, this is week 4. It's really hard to tell much about either team. Wisconsin lost to Penn State 16-10. They beat a trash team, EMU, 34-7, and they lost to Notre Dame. They only scored 13 points there. Now they play Michigan. So, as far as looking at teams and looking at who's been dominant, it really hasn't been pretty. The best teams, in my opinion, so far that I've seen has been Alabama, Georgia, but Georgia's got the same problem. Bunch of nobodies, right? Georgia got the same problem.
Apparently, quote unquote.
Right. Ole Miss has looked really good, and they look to be improving, right? So they played Louisville first game of the season, and they beat them by 19 points. They played Austin Peay, and it was 54-17. That's pretty good. If you're going to play the trash team, blow them out. Then they played Tulane, 61-21. That's a blowout. That's a 40-point blowout. Now they're going to play Alabama. They've had this game circled all season, and I guarantee you this is what Lane Kiffin is after. He wants to beat Alabama. Now, Lane Kiffin came out and said that he thinks the 2021 Bama team is better than the 2020 version. I don't know where he's getting that from because the scoreboard don't reflect it, but I digress. I'm going to jump over to Michigan. Look at Michigan. Michigan has not allowed anybody to score more than 14 points against them. Granted, playing trash teams. Some say Washington's pretty good. Some say Northern Illinois is pretty good. Some would say Rutgers is okay. Rutgers is the only game they kind of struggled in. The rest were blowouts.
Yeah.
I think that might have been just an off week for them. That might have been looking ahead to Wisconsin. But looking ahead on their schedule, I don't really see any losses for them. I think they beat Wisconsin. I'm sure they'll beat Nebraska. They'll beat NU. By this point, they may have a tight game between Michigan State, but they'll beat them. They'll beat UI. They may have a tight game against Penn State, but I believe they'll beat them. Maryland may be better than we realize. And then they play OSU. I think they could win all these games. I think they could show up at the end of the season and be undefeated going into a college football playoff or going into a Big Ten championship game.
See, I think on the other direction, you said they play Penn State.
Yeah.
I think Penn State beats them, but that's just my opinion. I also think that Ohio State beats them. So maybe 11-1.
Ohio State ran a model.
So
in the 2021 Bama was a 12-point underdog to 2020. Is Josh Pate the guy that does College Football Nerds? Is that the same guy?
24/7 Sports.
Oh, is that the guy that does? Okay. Oh yeah. The late kick, is that him?
The late kick, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what model he's using. I don't really watch much of his stuff.
I'll tell you what he does. He does simulations 100 times. Like, this is literally what he does. Simulations 100 times, and then he adds the combined score, and then that's what he does.
But who writes that? But see, the problem that you run into when you're running simulation is who writes the algorithm, because you have to look at how much of a factor, if it's a 0.1 of a factor difference on one team and the other based on the algorithm, and you run it 100 times, that can be a substantial amount.
Right.
So,
right.
And depending on, are you looking at defense? You're looking on average yards per game. Are you looking on the average amount of yards per game, average amount of points per game, average length of punt returns against you? I mean, what is your average field position, starting field position? What is your quarterback's average on third down when it's third and long? How often do you get in third and long? How often does this other team allow you to get in third and long? That's why these simulations, in my opinion, don't really work. Because there's so many factors, there's so many variables, you cannot possibly put them all in and expect to get a legitimate result. It's like having a 3,000 sided die and throwing it on the ground and saying it's going to be a 47. There's too many variables. Too many variables.
Like, for instance, like Josh Pate has Georgia winning over Arkansas 17.5, and Vegas has it winning 18.5. I don't know if that's a good example or not, but that's just what his simulation, quote unquote, has to say.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not saying that the simulation is wrong. I'm not saying it's bad or anything else. But what I'm saying is, I don't really buy into the simulations because I've seen them be wrong so often.
Well, it's just a computer.
College football nerds, they have a simulation they run, and their simulation came up and said it was something like, I want to say 31-18 Arkansas over Georgia.
Yeah, I mean, it can be rigged.
So you expect a team that, and even if it was 28 points, maybe I'm wrong. Even if it was 28-18 or whatever. So you're telling me that your simulation says that Arkansas is going to score more points than all the other teams combined?
Yeah,
I don't buy that. One game against Georgia.
The only top 25 picks that I pick are from Big Dog Brett. So that's
there you go. There you go. All right, so we're halfway through the show. I want to show you guys something. For those of you that have been around for a long time, you have seen these glasses. I'm going to show you these glasses. I don't know how many videos that I've done with this pair of sunglasses on. I would say probably quite a few, right? You guys familiar with these?
Oh, geez. Yep.
Yeah, right. So my silly self wasn't paying attention, and I set my glasses down, and my 9-month-old daughter decided, 9 months and some change. She decided to help me out with this problem. See, the lenses had been getting scratched over a while, and I was just about to the point where I was going to buy new lenses. And she said, "You know what, Dad? I don't think you need just new lenses. I think you need a whole new set of glasses."
Oh my God.
So she completely snapped my favorite pair of sunglasses.
Ouch.
And these are Costas. So for those of you who know what Costas are, they're really fishing glasses. Appreciate that, Shane. Thanks for the super chat, sir. I really appreciate it. Yeah, she helped me out. So I am down a pair of sunglasses. I'm gonna have to have a service for these. I'm gonna show you how long I've had these. On the inside of every pair of Costas, it actually says Costa right here.
Wow.
And you can see that I have worn that completely down to where you just can't. You can only see the C part of the O, the S, the T, and the A, and all the other writing is gone.
Damn.
Same thing on this side. It's just worn. I mean, absolutely worn out. So, yeah, Costa glasses are not cheap. These are plastic lenses. Actually, this is the second set of lenses I had in them. The first pair of lenses I had were glass. My oldest daughter accidentally shattered one of those, so I bought the replacement lenses for him. So I'm gonna introduce to you guys the new glasses. This is the new one.
Drum move.
You ready?
I'm ready.
I'm
Here
ready.
we go.
Nice.
So these are the new glasses. When we do videos outside and whatnot, you'll see these. These are also Costas. So these are brand new. I got a really, really good deal on these, but yeah. So.
Well, dang, man, I was going to tell you if you meet me up at the Georgia game, I was going to buy you a pair of Costas.
I found a very good hookup for those glasses. So just so you know, guy helped me out a lot on those. So what I'm not gonna divulge what I paid for them, but I will tell you it is more money than I wanted to spend, but it was such a good price, I couldn't pass it up. So if you guys want to donate to the cause, feel free to do so.
Maybe I wouldn't have done that then.
Hey, quick question for all of you. Kobe, you said that back when we were talking about Michigan doing 4-0 right now, you said they might maybe go 11-1 if they play like this and stuff. Would that be would that make them like in the conversation of the playoff, or they still need to go to the Big Ten title to get there?
No, I think that I think it really depends on how dominant they are throughout the rest of the season.
Oh, okay.
So if they play, let's say that Ohio State turns out to really turn it on and they look really good the rest of the season and they really beat the crap out of people, and then they get to that game and they lose that game against Ohio State, but it's really, really close. I could see a one-loss team possibly getting in, especially if OSU has lost another one along the way. So
Exactly.
Even though you win the Big Ten championship, having 2 losses is pretty much an automatic disqualifier. That's why Clemson's out. Clemson's already lost 2 games and may lose more. They may lose to Miami. I don't know.
Or Boston College.
It really does depend. So for me, that's tough to say. We'll see what happens. But right now,
go ahead. Sorry.
Michael Porter says, "Can everyone please give BDB a thumbs up?" Yes, sir. I completely appreciate that, Michael Porter. Michael Porter's good people. Good people. We like Michael Porter around here, man. He's always on the show. Love the guy.
Yeah.
Every playoff team might have a loss this year. That is also a possibility. Texas. It's true. It's very much possible. And I'm sorry, you Alabama fans. I don't mean to make y'all mad, but it's also very possible that Alabama loses a game to Ole Miss. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be really interesting. If Alabama loses, what's that?
Does Bama play Arkansas too, or no?
They do play Arkansas.
Yeah, they do. Away at Alabama.
Yeah, do they play it at Alabama?
Yeah. Well, I believe they do. I might be wrong.
Let's see. Yeah, Arkansas at Alabama. Yeah.
Okay.
So currently the matchup predictor is 88.2 to 11.8% in favor of Alabama, of course. but we'll see.
Hey,
You'd be surprised. You would be surprised at how close some of their numbers are.
Mm-hmm.
So points per game average for Alabama is 46.5, and there's 36 points for Arkansas. Points allowed per game, Alabama 18, Arkansas 15. That's pretty close. Total yards per game, Alabama 465, Arkansas 480. Yards allowed by Alabama allowed 288 yards. Arkansas allowed 267. So the numbers are really close between these two teams. You could probably say, obviously we'll know a lot more as we get closer to the end of the season. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Brett, I'm going to hop on off here. I got to get to work early in the morning, but I appreciate you having me on, man.
Oh, anytime, man. Appreciate it, Colby. Thanks, sir.
All right, man.
Have a good one. If anybody else wants to join the show, I think the link should be in the chat here somewhere. I'm going to go and throw another one in here. Here we go. Try not to overwhelm you guys with so much. I try not to overwhelm you guys with all the super duper content. I don't make enough videos, man. I stay so stinking busy. So let's do this real quick. I was really hoping to have Trenches on, but I think he's driving.
Probably.
So what's the T on Stetson Bennett? I don't know. I wish he wasn't here. What's up, Jesse Stacy? It's hard to say. Stetson Bennett is one of those guys who you never know what you're going to get out of him. You might get 5-star Heisman candidate caliber quarterback play, and you might get high school 3-star quarterback play. You just never know. And I think that's why they put him in. They put him in just to see what's going to happen. So, hey, let the big dog eat, says go Braves. I agree with that. I can say go Braves. That works for me. Put the chop on them. Down at the chop house. Yeah. So for those of you who've never been to Truist Park, they have a in the back of right field is a drinking establishment called the Chop House. It's a restaurant too, but
that's cool.
You can actually hit a baseball. I can't, but baseball players can hit a baseball into that thing when people are eating. It's hilarious.
Dang, is that illegal?
Oh yeah, you sitting in a baseball park. It's legal. And for those of you who also don't know, if you go to the park, if you go to the Atlanta Braves Stadium at Truist Park on Sundays, there's tons of, is it Saturdays or Sundays? I think it's Sundays. If you go down there on Sundays, there's tons of stuff that they let the kids do. There's actually a couple of zip lines in there in the stadium.
What?
Yeah, there are zip lines in the stadium at Truist Park. There's almost like a carnival section on the back side over there you can walk behind. Tons of stuff to do at the Battery. Always cool people down at the Battery. So if you guys get a chance, go down there and check that out. Mm-hmm. One of the things I wanted to jump into was the matchup predictors, the schedules. Tomorrow, we're going to have Virginia at Miami. I kind of want to catch that game, but it's 7:30 at night. By the time it's over, it'll start to be getting kind of late. We'll see what happens with that. I definitely want to see the Iowa versus the Maryland Terrapins.
Turtles.
Hey, don't make fun of the old Myrtle Turtle here. They're 4-0 and they've looked pretty dominant. They had a little bit of a hiccup against West Virginia, but they beat them. Yeah. Next game, they beat their opponent. I think it's Howard State. They beat them 62-0. They beat out Illinois. They beat Kent. This could be a surprise upset for Iowa. And I think this might put Iowa around, 9 or 10. But Iowa's looked pretty good. Their defenses look really solid. The offense is scoring on average. All of their games look pretty close to being the same. So it's going to be interesting to see how these two teams line up. They've only allowed like 11 points per game over the last 3 opponents. So that's gonna be a good game. It's coming on 8:00. I'm gonna want to watch that game. That's gonna be a really solid game.
Are you gonna watch? I know you're an SEC guy, but an college football fan too. You think? I know Michigan plays Wisconsin like 11 a.m. But do you think you might watch that a little bit, or no?
If I'm at the game, I'll probably just catch the highlights on my phone as best I can.
Yeah, I do that too.
Yeah. So like when I go to this game, I got to take my phone. I got to take headphones. Right. I got to take a selfie stick. I got to take my wallet. I got to take a mask. I got to take what else I got to take? I got to take a backup battery. I got to take 2 charging cables, my keys, a hat. Be wearing my jersey. So I'm gonna be busy.
So your hands are more than full.
Right, exactly. Because people's gonna want a halftime show, which is fair, and I want to do it, especially when I'm at the game. But this could be one of the biggest games Georgia plays all year.
Right.
So I got a friend of mine who has graciously offered a ticket to the game for like $75 bucks. So I got to come up with $75 in between now and then.
Is that a good deal or no?
There are tickets for the game that's around $100.
Oh,
but for good seats, they're typically around $200 or a little bit more.
Damn.
So depending on where these seats are at, it may be a really good deal, or it may just be a pretty good deal. So we'll see. Jesse Stacy says Maryland has the worst uniform by far. They do have some rough uniforms. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I think they just. I wish they could bring the turtle on the helmet or the turtle head, whatever it is. Not just the Maryland flag. I get they represent the state, but
yeah,
come on, it's college football.
Colin says if you were betting the 401k on the 18.5 line, which way am I going? I would bet the under. I would bet Georgia doesn't cover the 18.5. And when I make my other video, I'll get into why. Yes, please don't forget the selfie stick. Lord have mercy, that camera was so close to that mug on the beach. Hey, man, I was working what I was given. So, yeah. Let's see here. BYU, not interested. Arkansas, Georgia, we'll talk about that one later. Michigan, Wisconsin. I'm going to take Michigan in this game. Then we got a pretty interesting game after that, which is the Tennessee versus Missouri. I'm going to take Missouri because Missouri played Boston College pretty close.
Yeah.
They in every game they've scored at least 34 or 35 points. Tennessee, on the other hand, they didn't do that great against Florida. Florida scored 38-1. Missouri, I mean, it's going to be a good game, but I'm gonna take Missouri by like 3 points in this game. It's not going to be a huge win. Texas rocks over here ripping on me. Texas versus TCU. Texas should beat TCU like they own them. I'm going to take North Carolina over Duke. Notre Dame versus Cincinnati at 2:30. This is going to be a really good game to watch. We'll see what happens. I'm going to take Cincinnati to beat Notre Dame. I don't know what the point score is. Notre Dame's probably favored somehow. Ole Miss over Alabama. Guys, you want to talk about a fast way to catch some hate. All you got to do is talk a little bit about Alabama not winning a game. But we going to talk about it. So, Alabama's look good. Ole Miss has looked good. Now, Alabama's played 4 games. Ole Miss has played 3. First game, both teams scored 44 points. Louisville scored 24. Miami scored 13. Next game, Ole Miss beat App State 54-17. Alabama beat Mercer 48-14. Ole Miss beat Tulane 61-21. And that compares to Alabama beating USM 63-12 or 14. Then the one game difference here is that Alabama played Florida 31-29. It was a really, really close game. Looking at that game, up until 3 minutes to go in the game, Alabama was winning by almost 2 scores. So, Florida tried to make it a game, but the game was really never away from Alabama, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It looked closer than it was. The scoreboard makes it look closer than it was, but Alabama won this game pretty solidly. Now, going into this game with Ole Miss and Alabama, every single week, Ole Miss has gotten better every week.
Mm-hmm.
They scored 43 points, then they scored 54 points, then they scored 61 points. To me, that's the sign of a team that is getting in rhythm, getting their stuff together, feeling out everything, and they're getting on a roll. Alabama kind of got gut checked a little bit by Florida, and then they bounced back against USM. This is going to be a good game. You can expect a shootout. I think both of these teams are going to be in it, just fight tooth and nail. Both of these teams believe they can win this game. This has been the team that Ole Miss has had circled since they lost to them last year. They've been looking at this game. They want to be, Lane Kiffin wants to be the guy to beat Nick Saban. Of course, everybody does, but it's going to be really interesting. I'm going to tell you, I don't know who's going to win this game. I could pick Alabama and say it's going to be close. I could pick Ole Miss and say it's going to be close. But if I had to put money on the table, I would say I don't think Alabama has faced a team that has the scoring capability of Ole Miss. I think this is going to be the best offense that they've seen all season and might see all season until they get postseason play. Matt Corral is a beast. I mean, the guy is really, really good. If Ole Miss's offensive line can give him a little bit of time, basically, let me put it to you this way. He's at 1,000 yards on the season already. Bryce Young's at 1,124. Bryce Young has, I don't think, as much talent, in my opinion, as Matt Corral. I think Matt Corral could win the Heisman, especially if he shows off in this game. So I know there's people who say there's a lot more talent on the Alabama roster. That's fine. There was last year too, and Ole Miss still almost beat them. So for me, I'm going to pick the upset. I know people are going to get mad at me, but sometimes you just gotta say, hey, I think that if Alabama allowed Florida to end the game that close, that's too close, and I feel like that Ole Miss has a much better offense than Florida does. I think that Ole Miss could win this game.
Yep.
I really do. So for all you Alabama fans out there, listen, this is a coin flip. Either team can win this game. I can't pick Alabama all the time because it's just so cliche to pick Alabama all the time. This particular time, I'm going to pick Ole Miss. They're a little bit of an underdog, have a high-powered offense. They've had this game circled for a long time. They have the offensive play scheme to do it. One of the few in that side in the West that can. So I'm going to pick Ole Miss. All right, Oregon versus Stanford. So, this is another one that's kind of interesting. I don't really know how this game is going to go. Stanford is another one of those teams that looks good at one time and then looks terrible the next. They played UCLA pretty close. They beat Vanderbilt, but they let Vanderbilt score 23 points. I think Oregon wins this game by more than 2 touchdowns. Oklahoma plays K-State, Kansas State. They should win that by more than 2 touchdowns. I guess he left. All right, if anybody else wants to jump in here, we can talk about it. We can. I want to go and post the link again. Let's see who else we got here. Ohio State versus Rutgers. The Rutgers Scarlet Knights only lost by 7 points to Michigan. This is another team that's trying to figure itself out. I don't know. To me, Ohio State should win this game, but Ohio State has had moments where I was like, what are you guys doing? They looked really good against Akron. They looked pretty good against Tulsa, but they flopped entirely against Oregon. So they should win this game soundly. Troy should beat South Carolina. For those of you South Carolina fans that are still watching college football. Florida versus Kentucky. Now, Kentucky has looked really good, and now they didn't look that great against South Carolina, but they've had moments where they looked really good. Florida could win this game, should win this game, but it wouldn't surprise me if they don't. Florida lost to Alabama. They did a really, really solid job against Tennessee, but I think Kentucky's going to be a test for them. I think Kentucky's got pretty good offensive, not offensive, but defensive capabilities. Quarterback Will Levis is pretty solid, around 66% completion percentage. This guy can really play. I think that he's going to probably be one of the better quarterbacks that Florida's going to see all year. Just my opinion. I doubt. Shane M says, I doubt Ole Miss beats Bama, but wouldn't be surprised if they keep it interesting. It's gonna be an interesting game for sure. Hey, what's up, Stray Dog? How you doing, sir? Didn't see you sneak in here on me. But yeah, I always pick an upset game of the week. I'm gonna pick Kentucky to beat Florida as an upset. NC State beat Louisiana Tech. Texas A&M versus Mississippi State. Texas A&M should win that game. Who knows? I think Oklahoma State's going to beat the fire out of Baylor. Baylor has looked really good against a bunch of nobodies. But Oklahoma State has really looked like one of the best in the country to me at times. I know the scoreboard doesn't look it, but if you watch the way they play, they're very physical. I'm going to take Oklahoma State. People think I'm crazy. I don't care. Penn State over Indiana, number 4. Penn State, they'll beat Indiana. Michigan State will beat Western Kentucky. Boston College, I'm going to go ahead and call it. Boston College has this game circled against Clemson. They don't care if Clemson's unranked or ranked. They want to beat them again. So Boston College, I'm picking Boston College to beat Clemson. I'm going to pick that too. You know what else I'm going to do? I'm going to pick. Before I say this. Golly, am I even going to say this? All right, I'm going to say it. LSU's going to beat Auburn. It ain't going to be pretty, but they're going to beat them. They're going to beat them. Yeah. They letting teams come back on them, though. They are, but whatever. Darth Mullet. Whew. So then you got Fresno State at 11 p.m. at night. Listen. If you're watching the start of a football game at 11 p.m., man, you're a diehard fan for real. You're a diehard fan. Now, I may watch the LSU Auburn game because everything else should pretty much be over by that point, except for the beating that Clemson's going to take at the hands of Boston College. But Fresno State's playing Hawaii. They should beat them silly. That shouldn't even be a question. Thanks, Sam, to your Longhorns. Oh, did I go to the Longhorns game? I did not. I apologize. How rude, à la moi. Texas has been looking pretty good here lately. Texas versus TCU, I did kind of go over this. They hung 70 points on TTU, Texas Tech University. How many Texas teams do y'all play? Good Lord. There's Texas Tech, TCU. Is there another team in here from Texas? No, because you guys don't play Texas A&M this year. Okay. Pretty much ever. For some reason in my mind, I thought you guys played Texas A&M this year. I don't know why I thought that. Is it Baylor, Texas, or is Baylor, California? Baylor, Texas, isn't it? Baylor Bears? Somebody know? Texas will beat OU. They might. They very well could. Texas look pretty solid, man. That slapping and spanking that they got from Arkansas woke them up, man, because they went out there and worked over Rice 58-0, come out hung 70 points on TTU. Lord knows what they're going to do to TCU. And if Texas ain't ranked by this point after they beat TCU, when they play Oklahoma, they're going to put it on them. You guys got the right quarterback in place now. West Coast football fans are crazy. You have to be insane to deal with the time zone difference. If you are a West Coast fan and you watch football all day, like that, what's 11 o'clock for us is like 8 o'clock for them. So the noon games for us is basically them getting up, pouring a cup of coffee, and watching football at 9 o'clock in the morning. Oh, you got to play Caleb Williams to keep up with Texas. That's a possibility. Whew. I'm surprised. There was a few people I thought would have joined the show tonight that I didn't see it. My goodness. Baylor is in Waco, Texas. Okay. So there is another Texas team there. I thought so. I wasn't sure, but I thought so. Whew. Well, guys, that's pretty much it for me. Let me go back to the NCAA schedule rankings. The rankings are terrible right now. It's just so hard to figure all this stuff out. I'm just really going to give you guys what I think should be the top 10 here. Golly, this is tough. Alabama 1, Georgia 2. And then from there, it gets a little tougher. I could see arguments for Iowa, Cincinnati, Arkansas, Ole Miss, Michigan, all those guys from 4 through 10. I mean, Notre Dame, 10, Arkansas, 5, 6, Cincinnati, 5, 6, Penn State, 10, Florida, 85th, Michigan, 6. I mean, it's really all over the board. It's so hard to tell. 1 and 2 and everything else, pretty much. So one of the things, real quick before we jump off, is the odds of college football. Let me see it. Football teams. This would be so much easier if I could spell. College football teams making the playoffs. So I pull this up. That's it. The tracker. It's the tracker. Clemson, Alabama, Ohio State, Oklahoma. These must be old numbers. This is weird. No, I don't know what they're doing over here. Those guys are crazy. ESPN released Austin's top 15 teams. What team was this? When was this posted? 22 days ago. So that's no good. I saw one somewhere. I don't know where it's at, but I saw it. That it had Alabama at 38, Georgia at like 34, and then the rest was like 8, 7, 6, and 5% of making the college football playoffs. So if Georgia goes out here and loses one game in the SEC championship, we'll be going to the playoffs. If we win that game, we're definitely going. So again, Georgia's in the driver's seat. You know, that we control our own destiny. A lot of teams right now still do. So a lot to be ironed out in between now and then. But you know, this week will tell us more. The next week will tell us more. The next week will tell us even more. So the only way SEC will get 2 teams is if it's Bama and Georgia. I don't know about that, Sean. I think you could make a case. You could make a case if Ole Miss runs the table, they could get in, and then it would be Ole Miss and Georgia. So 6 wins to make a bowl going to be hard for some. Tennessee is one of them. South Carolina might be one of them. Vanderbilt definitely one of them. Mississippi State might be one of them. Where's my brush? There we go. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, looking good. Brush that dog out. Mm-hmm. Take that dog to the groomer. Get him brushed out. All right, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if you made it this far in the video. You guys are awesome. Really appreciate you guys. Leave your comment down in the comment below what you think the Georgia Alabama score is going to be. I'd love to get you guys' input on that. Let's see Vandy play Florida State. That would be that I have no words for that. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. You guys are awesome. Really appreciate you. We'll be seeing you guys soon. Have a great day. God bless. Go Dogs.